Okay, I just finished watching NXT 2.0 and I just gotta throw my thoughts out there. This isn't gonna be a review. I haven't really seen NXT in a long time, so I don't really know everything that's going on. I only know what I've heard from reviews. But to be honest, this new NXT, good grief, man. This is like taking me back to the days of like all that pink and all the pastels. In other words, it takes me back to the 80s, y'all. Me being an 80s baby, 80s kid, I remember all that fluff. I remember all the pastels and all the craziness and all the color that you would see on every single show there is. Any kid show was full of color. This is 100% 80s cheese in its buttload. Not at its finest, at its buttload. Like they just took a dump truck and just dumped a whole bunch of 80s cheese on this entire show, and everybody was saturated in it. From the women's tag matches, good grief, everybody acted so cartoony. It was absolutely ridiculous. Johnny Gargano, I'm sorry, he had a whole buttload of 80s cheese dumped on him. And Candice LeRae as well. It was ridiculously cheesy to the point where it was cartoony. Now, I'm not going to really knock the matches. The matches actually were pretty solid. And my favorite match was the Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Men's Championship. The NXT Heavyweight Championship. That was pretty much my favorite match of the night. Now the women's matches, of course, are always really solid, and of course we had the changing of Mandy Rose. All that happened when she's a brunette now. That's pretty much it. But I will say this: her wrestling skills has gotten better. It's improved greatly now that she's at NXT. But despite all that, some of the characters are great, but then some needs work. Can we say Carmelo Hayes? Woof. Like, he really needs to go back and work on his mic skills. He's just as robotic as Angelo Dawkins when he was starting out. Now Angelo got some personality, but back then, he kind of reminded me of an athlete trying to read from a teleprompter. It was that bad. But Carmelo Hayes really need to go back and get some work, man. He need to go back and get some work done for that, man. But Tricky he's kind of funny. He's kind of funny. He has a little bit of personality. He needs a little bit of work, but he's not bad. Everything just kind of felt wooden, though. When it came to some of the promos, it was just incredibly wooden. There was no emotion or anything in it. Everybody felt like they were new to the game, except for Ciampa. Ciampa really, and it kind of reminded me of the fact that Ciampa didn't lose the title and how much it would mean to him to get Goldie back. I forgot he had to relinquish it because of injury. So the fact that he got it back, oh wait, hold on. Sorry, spoiler alert, should have let you know ahead of time, but now that you know, he got the belt back. Goldie has come back home. But despite all that, this show reeks of Vince. It reeks of Vince and Bruce Pritchard. The reason why I say that is because this is 100% 80s with no identity whatsoever. And when it comes to things that Vince does, he has a whole hodgepodge of ideas and he kind of tries to fuse them together, or at least he tries to use peanut butter as an adhesive, but it never works out. In this case, I have zero idea what identity this show is supposed to be, or what identity this show actually has, or what it's supposed to have, or what the target audience is supposed to be. The entire set itself looked like it was something straight out of the Kids' Choice Awards. You looked at it, it looked like a Nickelodeon game show. And I was waiting for Mark Summers to come out for Double Dare. No joke, man. It looked that cheesy. And I don't know what target audience he's trying to grab, what this is supposed to be. I have no idea. But you have the wrestlers that are acting like, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink adults. But then you got the set that look like some straight out of a kid show. I don't know what he's trying to do or what audience he's trying to grab, but this isn't it. You got the wrestlers and their styles that don't fit the aesthetic of the entire set. It's off. This entire show was off. And it was so distracting. It was hard to focus on the matches. It was hard to look at the actual wrestlers in the ring, their promos, it was tough because that set was distracting. It was way too distracting. But am I gonna say that this show was an actual D, or was it a dumpster fire? No. It's just there was so many things about it that just made it off to where you just couldn't focus on what was going on. So honestly, this, in my opinion, this show is a C. I mean, I can't give it an A. It has to be a C because, number one, the set was absolutely terrible. It looked like something out of a kid's show. Everything was covered in 80s cheese to the point where it was oversaturated with it. Everyone was way too cartoony and over the top. Even the women's tag was over the top. Casey Canzaro, I know she has a lot of energy, but good grief, she was like a character straight out of an 80s flick. But honestly, my favorite match of the night definitely was the main event, and that's the reason why I can't give it lower than that, because the matches actually were pretty solid. When I was able to gain focus from all distracting colors, I was able to see that the matches were really good. But the problem was they ended the entire show with that wedding. Woof, that wedding. I don't think anybody really wanted to see Dexter Lumis get married to Indy Hartwell. And the fact that Dexter Lumis spoke for the first time pretty much shocked everybody, but this looks like something straight out of an 80s movie. This is 80s saturating all over this man. And I don't know where it's gonna go from here. I don't know if I'm gonna watch another episode. It's way too cheesy for me. And I love my cheese. I love my 80s and 90s cheese. I'm a cheese ball and a cornball, but not too much. I kind of want to have a good taste of my food. You know what I mean? I know that that's a bad analogy, but when you oversaturate your food with something, you're not going to be able to taste what the food is. You're only going to taste the sauce or the cheese or whatever you put on top of it. That'll be the only thing you taste. That's the problem with this show. It was overly saturated with 80s cornball cheese to where you couldn't enjoy it for what it was because it was too distracting. So I had to give it a C. I have to give this show a C. I can't give it a B. It was way too much. But anyway, y'all, I want to hear what your thoughts are about this new NXT. What do you think about it? Did you watch it all the way through? What were your scores? If you can score from A to F, what will your score be? Leave in the comments below. Let me know how you feel. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.